Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Marcus,
And I'm Shelby.
and we
we're
are Krugers with the C. How you doing today, honey?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So we were riding in the car. Y'all know we always ride somewhere.
Yes, we are.
we gas cheap too. So.
Yes.
All right, but anyway, we were riding in the car the other day, and we just started talking about our marriage and our relationship, how we have progressed, how we have evolved into who we are. And one thing that we realized is that we had to go back to our foundation and get more understanding out of some stuff. So today's topic will be revisiting your foundation. Okay, so what brought this topic up is we were in a discussion about something and we started to bump heads about it. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the conversation, we realized that we forgot that we was on the same team.
Right.
And so that made us start thinking about, okay, when we first got together, we said we'll do this, and we wouldn't do this. And one of our phrases was, I got your back.
Right.
And I think that it's important that we discuss this because, like, we've been married for 5 years, but if you look at other people, they've been married for 10, 15, 20 years, and you wonder how they make it. I think that one thing that they did was remember what they said.
Yes.
It's not only remembering your wedding vows, the big day. You have to go back and revisit your foundation. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that I wanted to make sure I say. What about you?
Yeah, I just wanted to also we had to understand each other's point of view.
Right.
And I think that, when we was in that heated argument,
but it's okay.
when we was in that heated discussion.
It was an argument. No,
it was an argument, but hey, heated discussion to be correct.
Yeah, politically correct.
We just wasn't listening to each other's point of view.
Right.
And just understanding each other's feelings and just, I guess, knowing what was going on. Right. I don't know. I just think our emotions just took the driver's seat and took off.
Right. And one thing that we came out with after cooler heads prevailed was one thing that we said was we have to avoid the I told you so factor.
Yes.
So because we never want to be at a point to where I say go ahead and do something and then I see you do it and then you fail and then I can say I told you so. That's nothing but trouble. So
that's not having each other's back.
Right. And the thing that I was trying to get across was in the discussion was I want you to look to the future. I don't want you to look for right now. So it was kind of hard for me to express that to her without her thinking, oh, here we go again. But after we sat down, talked, and she realized what I was saying, I had to explain to her, I never want to get you to a point to where we say, just go ahead and act on the situation for I can say, I told you so.
Right.
So that was one of the key things that we learned that day was we have to avoid the I told you so factor. So that's a new terminology in our relationship now.
Yeah.
What else we come up with? Oh, the house. The house. We came up with a good analogy too.
I thought it was a silver.
It was two analogies, then. One was like a relationship is like a house. You can live in your house for years, but time after a while goes by, you're going to have to go and renovate some stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with relationships. We might have an understanding barrier. You might have to go back to the beginning of your relationship, remember what you said, and renovate that room of your relationship.
Right.
You might have some other kind of barrier. You have to go back and renovate that part of your relationship. So how relationships are like houses. You have to renovate some stuff. You have to tear down some old walls and put up some new walls.
Yes. Not walls to block.
Not blocking walls. No.
And the other analogy we had was about silver. You know how silver, once it gets old, it gets darker, it gets tarnished, and if you don't wipe it off, it won't shine bright anymore. And that's what we was talking about our relationship. If we just let it get let stuff pile on and it get tarnished, our light won't shine anymore. You know, so you have to clean all those layers off, and so we can be shining bright and nice and cute and pretty again.
Right. Another thing that we said too was understanding the reality that you're in.
Right.
Because with our relationships, things had changed. We only had 2 kids coming in. When we got time went on, we had another baby. So
Right.
you have to understand the reality that you're in. Sometimes things gonna change. So, but if you remember what you built your relationship off of, I'm not necessarily saying change what you built, but you can go back and tweak it a little
To
bit.
fit what's now,
Right.
to fit your reality.
Right.
You
right.
can't forget it. You know, life happens, and a lot of things happens and distract us, and we forget about this and we forget about that. But we cannot forget about where we started from and why we are here in the first place.
Right.
So, like you said, things change, but you have to go get those things that we started off in the beginning and make them fit in what's new right now.
Right. I think that's so important, because if you don't fix it, if you don't go back and get some of that stuff, you're gonna lose it. It's just like they say, they tell the kids over the summer, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you have to practice what you said from the beginning. I mean, you remember the things that you asked God for. Remember what you prayed for. You got to do your part too. So you got to go back and get some of that stuff and keep applying it to your relationship. You might have to tweak it a little bit to get it to where it would work for now. But those are some of the things that we came up with.
Yeah, and I just had a thought, like, if you no longer feel comfortable with something that you did feel comfortable in the past, you need to go be like, hey, honey, for some reason, I don't feel comfortable doing this or doing that with you anymore. And why is that? You need to question it. You need to find out why, because that can lead to other stuff,
Right.
you know, and that can be that tarnishment on that silver, and your relationship is not shining anymore. So, communication. That's all it is.
Part 89.
That's how we talk about it.
Communication. But it is the key.
Yes,
it is the key. And you have to understand each other. So
Yes, you do.
remember that how relationships are like houses,
They're like silver.
and you have to fix it. You have to go back. You got to go back and get that stuff from the beginning.
You have to buff it.
Right.
Get it all off so it can shine again.
Right. So hopefully this was a help to you guys. I know that it was a help to us.
Yes, it was.
We had to go through some pressing times and some pressing conversations to get here. But at the end of the day, it helped us. So we hope that it helped you. Go to the page, like us on Facebook at Krugers with a C. Like us on YouTube at Kruger with a C. Subscribe, like, share. Until the next time, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Shelby.
And we're Krugers with a C.
Bye.
Talk to you later.